We're here with the creative director of Shadow Realms, that's made by BioWare Austin, which is the acclaimed studio that made Star Wars: The Old Republic, and we're going to ask him a few questions about the new game, the new IP. So Shadow Realms, it's a 4 versus 1 game, RPG, right?
That's correct.
Story-based, which is of course in BioWare's DNA, but that's actually kind of interesting because lately we got the announcement of Evolve, which is still 4 versus 1, but it kind of put the 4 versus 1 archetype in a different direction because it's a shooter.
Yes.
So what's the angle for a story-based game in that kind of environment, in an environment in which there is 4 players against 1 villain, basically?
Well, the way we look at it is that we were inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, and we always felt that having that dungeon master, that game master type of player, really adds to the depth and the exciting surprises that can happen in an adventure. It really changes everything up, makes every experience different, and I need from anything you've ever experienced before. So how we mix it with story. Role-playing games are always about exploring a world and experiencing an epic story, and with BioWare games in particular, it's about experiencing a story, a cinematic story, where you get to make choices that impact the game and your continual adventures. And you're going to get that in Shadow Realms, but the way that the story engages you is it's your personal story. You're getting a personal story, and you get a lot of the stories told in the fortress city of Avalon, which sits between the worlds of Embra and Earth, and that's a solo instance. It's a place where you're getting your own personal solo story. Now, often the story takes you to other realms, and you're linked up with other heroes like yourself, and sometimes they'll help you complete story objectives. You might be there to rescue a valued friend from being tortured at the hands of the Shadow Lord, and when you're doing it, you're linked up with 3 other players who don't have that objective, but get rewards for helping you complete that story objective. And then when you bring them back to the fortress city of Avalon, you find out more about the story as it continues to unfold. One of the ways that we're innovating with story in Shadow Realms is the fact that it's going to be episodic in nature. So what we want to do is provide that dream of the never-ending role-playing game. So in Shadow Realms, when you first get the game, you get essentially the mini-series that introduces the ongoing series. So it's a lot of content, it's a lot of story, but when you get to the end of it, what you have to look forward to is a continual update of new story chapters on a regular cadence. We want to get as close as we can to the cadence and exciting cliffhanger type storytelling that you'd see in your favorite HBO series like Game of Thrones or Boardwalk Empire. And that's what we're aiming to supply, that kind of storytelling that goes on for years.
So there isn't a number of episodes planned. It's like until it goes, right?
Yeah, I would love to be talking about new episodes, 10 years from now, or maybe not me, maybe some other guy who's running Shadow Realms at that time. But I would like it to be like a long-running TV series. That would be the dream.
Is the staff for Shadow Realms mostly people that work on Star Wars: The Old Republic, or is it a completely different staff?
We have a lot of people from Star Wars: The Old Republic. We also have a lot of people, BioWare veterans from some of the games up in Edmonton. For example, myself, I was the lead designer on Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Neverwinter Nights, Knights of the Old Republic.
Can I hug you?
Dragon Age Origins and Old Republic. My lead world designer, Brad Prince, he was the lead world designer on Knights of the Old Republic. He worked on Mass Effect. He was the guy who did a lot of the cinematic systems for Mass Effect. He worked on the Old Republic. We have a lot of different talent that has worked on some of BioWare's classic games and other games as well. But yeah, the core is from Old Republic, and that game has taught us so much about online games and online storytelling, and we're able to apply those lessons learned to this new game.
Since you worked on Baldur's Gate, you probably know what I'm talking about. The Dungeon Master in Baldur's Gate and in old pen and paper RPG wasn't so much of an enemy, but it was more someone that was at the service of the player to make them have more fun. In this game, the Dungeon Master or the Shadow Lord is going to be more like an enemy, or is going to be more like, is he in direct competition with the player, or is he a Deus Ex Machina that is also trying to have make the player have more fun, like in old pen and paper RPGs?
He's more of the enemy. So it is, and the thing is, there were some. Actually, my favorite module, the Dungeons and Dragons module of all time, was the Assault on the Area of the Slave Lords. It was the Slave Lord series. Do you know that series?
Yes.
That series actually came out of Gen Con, and
Yes.
it was the competitive adventures where you actually did have 4 players arrayed against the Dungeon Master, and it was competitive. You were trying to get to the end of the dungeon as quickly as possible. So, Dungeons and Dragons, there are some campaigns where the Dungeon Master was mostly a storyteller who was a facilitator, but then there was other campaigns where it was all about the competition of the players against the Dungeon Master. And our game is definitely more in line with that style of interaction, the competitive style of interaction. But that doesn't. The great thing about a video game is we can still include the story elements and the exploration elements through the video game itself.
Yeah. Is there going to be consequences? Meaning, if the Dungeon Master wins, the Shadow Lord wins, is it just okay? I retry this mission, or there is going to be a consequence, like the story changes because I failed?
The story won't change because you failed. One of the things we wanted to do was we didn't want. It's good to win. It's good to be to win as a Shadow Lord. It's good to win as the party of heroes. It's not the end of the world. We know that a lot of players out there don't like the competitive element. They just want to have fun being a role-playing game. And for those players, you're still if you go through an adventure and 75% of the way through, the Shadow Lord finally wipes out your party, you still explored that part of the dungeon. You got all the experience points. You got all the treasure. You got a lot of rewards. And yes, you have to try the adventure again. But it's not a total loss for you. You've still progressed your character and gotten better and gotten more.
How is the Shadow Lord chosen? I mean, do you queue up as the Shadow Lord? You can intentionally queue up as the Shadow Lord, or the system assigns it to someone at random or something like that?
So right now what we're doing is we're unlocking the ability, as you play, the hero is your main character. He's the character that you use to explore the world and explore the story. And as you play as a hero, you unlock the ability to
be
play
the
as a Shadow Lord. And so we can't have you playing the Shadow Lord all the time. The game just doesn't, our matchmaking system wouldn't work that way. So it's very much a reward mechanic. You play enough, you get to play as a Shadow Lord. And hopefully we'll have some players, actually I think some players are going to never want to play the Shadow Lord. Some players are going to want to play the Shadow Lord more.
All the time.
And so for those players, for the players who never want to play the Shadow Lord, they'll never play the Shadow Lord. And for the players who always want to play the Shadow Lord, they can try
and get it as much as you can.
Yes.
Isn't there going to be a problem at the beginning, when there is no one that unlocked the Shadow Lord yet?
No, when I mean unlock, I mean that you're going to be. You can't just play the Shadow Lord every single time. It just, as you play the hero, you unlock a play session of the Shadow Lord. You use it, and then you have to play as the hero more, and then you unlock a play session of the Shadow Lord. So
but you start with one?
Yeah, you'll always be able to play it. Yeah, early on, you'll be able to play as the Shadow
that's
Lord.
perfect.
Yeah.
So basically, there is going to be some people that will play the Shadow Lord at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard that the game is not exclusive to PC, meaning that it could come to consoles in the future. Is that something that you guys have already planned, or that you're just having as a possibility in the future if the community wants it, and if EA lets you do it?
Yeah, it's pretty well your second thing there. So we've designed the game so that it can go to console. In fact, some of the developers use a controller to play the game. So we built it so that we aren't going to exclude console in the future, because we know that that's a big area to go to. But at the same time, we are experts at PC development. It affords us a lot of freedom to make changes and to make adjustments. So we wanted to start off on the PC, but I have seen there has been a lot of outcry in the community already about the fact that we're saying that we're PC first, but it doesn't mean we're going to be PC only.
Gotcha. Talking about this, I don't know if you can even answer about this because it's not Shadow Realms, but has there ever been any talk inside BioWare Austin about porting Star Wars: The Old Republic to consoles?
So, yes, and every time I bring that up, the technical guys tell me that I'm crazy. Unfortunately, it's because the game would be such a challenge technically. The engine just couldn't port over to consoles. Also, from a gameplay perspective, it is very much a keyboard style game.
Keyboard and mouse.
So but that's a solvable problem as compared to the technical issues. So I would love to at some
It's more a
point
matter of
solve
engine.
that and be able to transplant. Like everybody would love that. It would be a big win. But right now, we haven't figured out how to make that make
It's
sense.
mostly a matter of engine.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very enlightening, and I can't wait to play Shadow Realms for myself very soon. Do we already know when the alpha is going to start?
Well, we're going to start inviting a very few players at the end of next month, but we're going to start off slow. We'll ramp up. It'll probably be next year when more people will start being able to come in.
Okay.
We don't want to open the kimono too much until we have something that has all the systems in place. So.
Thank you very much.
Okay.